It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. I'm Brad Miller, and we're very happy to welcome into studio today a longtime civil servant, but a first-time guest on County-Wide. Ron Norfleet is with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, Criminal Investigation Bureau, Vice Chair, Board of Directors, the Fraud Investigation Unit. Did I get all that pretty close?
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks for coming in, and boy, thanks for what you do, and I want to roll up my sleeves and get into this.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Well,
the YCSO.
haven't done news before the morning show here and some other things. My golly, Ron, as you know, I don't think we could go hardly a week, certainly not a month, without hearing about some kind of fraudulent scheme preying on folks, so often older folks, elderly people. And you know this. So, but for our listeners' sake, it's hard to find. You can't swing a dead cat these days without hitting somebody who's been taken.
That's right.
Or at least been approached and possibly a victim of some kind of fraud or some kind of elder a contact like that.
Absolutely.
And your group, your division, is aimed at going after those folks or preventing that kind of thing. Is that right?
Yes, sir, and trying to help people recover money if we can.
Boy, and that's a trick, isn't it?
It is.
I know. Go ahead.
No, that.
Well, I was going to say that so often, and when we think of this kind of fraud these days, of course, we think about online schemes, text messages, or emails, or however they get a hold of you, and they can be coming from anywhere in the world, and that's got to frustrate your efforts to find these folks, let alone recover anything lost by the victims.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about that. How do you even dig in? If someone calls and says, I got a text, somebody wanted $500 in gift cards, and I got into that, I think I made a mistake. Where do you go from there, from the investigative standpoint?
Well, I talk to the victims first. They call and they contact me.
Right.
And then we'll start the conversation. And then I'll try to guide them, what they need to do, contact their banks, cancel their credit cards and all that.
Okay.
Have a deputy go out to their place, wherever they are, and take a report so we'll have something to work from.
Right.
But usually what happens with gift cards, which is not so popular anymore, is now it's cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But back when it was gift cards, they would if once they got outside and they scratched the back of the card off and gave the scammer that number, the money was gone. So there's nothing we could do.
That's it.
Yeah. We couldn't recover it. No way.
Is it a little bit easier if someone makes, say, a direct cash transfer from a bank account?
No, I've got a story for that too.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm sorry to say, a lady just lost $50,000, and she was so emotionally involved. The scammers came to her house, didn't get out of their vehicle, opened the trunk, and she put the money in the trunk.
Oh my God.
And they drove off with their $50,000.
What I don't know how much you can divulge to us, but now there's going to be people listening in our audience right now, scratching their head saying, how could anybody be so stupid?
Emotions.
Right.
Fear, greed, love, whatever, and sense of urgency. The scammers always create that sense of urgency, so you will overreact, and you're not thinking clear.
You got to do it now. You need to talk right this minute. My gosh, they came to our house. That's unusual.
I know. That was written up in the Courier, by the way. That story.
I would think.
Yeah, we had that published in the paper.
Well, can I don't want to get stuck in one case because there's so many different kinds of ways to do it. But that one is really compelling because they came to her.
Right.
You're saying now, what did the money was going to be? They told her it was going to be an investment or
no, it was missed jury duty. If I remember correctly, yeah.
So she thought she was facing some kind of consequence for missing jury duty, which maybe did happen.
Right. No.
And not even that. Oh my God.
And that leads me.
Oh no.
Now that gets me to one scam that's really popular right now. We can't get control of. Is the officer impersonation scam.
Right.
Where they're calling the victims, threatening them with arrest if they miss jury duty or they got an old fine they need to take care of right now.
Right.
Again, urgency.
Immediacy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not us. We're not doing that. And these guys are so clever that they've got your caller ID showing it's Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. Not us.
How do they do that?
They're
just that smart.
And it's all legal. Yeah, they have spoofed our front desk number, that 3260 number. So it shows up as Yavapai County Sheriff's Office on the caller ID, but that's not us. And just a heads up, no law enforcement agency is going to call you anyway.
Right. We say
but
that.
People don't know that.
No, you don't. I mean, it's so easy. You think people get tricked. You think, how could you be so silly or stupid or all this? But boy, when you're in the heat of it, these guys are pros. They work fast.
And you threaten them with somebody with arrest, that kind of gets their attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my golly, holy cow!
Yeah.
Well, I can't help. I got to bounce back to the lady in the $50,000.
Okay.
Since they came to her, did you get a plate? Did you get anything? Can that resolve?
No. And I asked the detective that took the case, did the lady happen to get her camera out and take a picture of the license plate? And he said no. So they got away.
Because she was so far down the road believing their BS.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
That is tough.
It is.
That's got to, the victim we feel for. That is lost. That has got to be unbelievably frustrating for law enforcement.
You bet.
Especially when they're flying your colors, using your phone number.
Yes, sir.
And that's a personal insult.
Yes, sir. And that's why I like to get out in the communities, different communities in the county, and give these fraud and scam presentations to different groups.
You bet.
To try to show them what red flags to look out for if something like this happens to you. Don't fall for it.
Well, despite all intentions of your agency and any law enforcement agencies across the country, the sad fact of this is most of these kinds of scams, especially the online, the text, the email, that money's never going to be recovered because they're out of the country. They're protected, perhaps. So the best we can do is kind of what you're talking about right now, and that is get out and prepare people ahead of time, so they don't fall victim first.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, and so along that line, then how do we do that? Is there some guidelines, some rules that I can try to keep in the back of my mind? Every criminal seems like they have a different approach, so it's hard to keep up.
Well, in the presentations that we do, I try to stress to everyone about we're getting you back to the emotions, because once they get you your mindset that you're doing the right thing, you can't convince them otherwise.
Yeah.
A lady fell for the sweetheart scam, looking for love on the internet, right?
Oh, broken hearts, lonely hearts kind of thing.
Looking for love in all the wrong places. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and her daughter was telling her that it was a scam. It was Elton John's going to come over here. They were going to get married, and she was so convinced that was true. Even her daughter couldn't convince her otherwise. She wound up giving all the money away. They went to court, and the lady wound up losing her home over that one because she was the emotions. I'm telling you that the strong it's hard to deal with. You can hardly talk to people once they are convinced they're doing the right thing.
I'm just sitting here shaking my head.
Yeah, it's sad.
That seems, it seems to me like that would be such a preposterous proposal that the bad guys wouldn't even think of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if someone called up and said, "Hey, Elton John was," there's a lot of things about Elton John. He's not going to be marrying a lady anyway.
Right.
On the face of it, I don't know how big of a fan she is. I've seen the guy 8 times, and I know that much. But okay, that's a whole different story, different show. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm just flabbergasted by some of these things. I feel so bad for people. We need to do this, Ron. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to get on something you just kind of touched on, that in that particular story, that victim's daughter tried to intervene and was not able to, and there's legal reasons probably for that. So that's frustrating for the family members of the victims too.
Very much.
Let's talk about that when we come back. Holy cow, what a world we've tapped into this morning with Ron Norfleet, Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, talking about fraud. It's everywhere, and they're trying to protect you. We'll be back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Thank you so very much for your generosity and kindness in helping others. I hope that you take advantage of the many Arizona state tax credits available when giving to qualified charities and schools. If you haven't taken advantage, I hope you'll ask your favorite charity if they qualify. You can go to Arizona Department of Revenue website, search for tax credits, and look at the list of qualifying charities. Then look at your latest Arizona income tax return and see how an Arizona tax credit can benefit many. This is Lewis saying thanks again.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time for a fresh start. Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, is ready to help you simplify and protect what matters most: your home, your car, your life, and your future. Jonna offers competitive pricing with a relationship-first approach that puts you at the center of every decision. Call Jonna Randall Murdoch today at 928-649-8686, located on Villa Drive in Cottonwood. Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
Welcome back to the program. It is Countywide. I'm Brad Miller. Ron Norfleet is our guest today with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, talking about fraud. And Ron is at the tip of the spear on that under this jurisdiction. And really, prevention here is kind of the name of the game, as best we can help people get taken. I want to bounce back to how we kind of concluded our first segment. Here was a woman who was very determined. In this case, she was going to marry Elton John if she poured enough money into somebody's pocket.
Right.
And you mentioned that her daughter, I'm assuming adult daughter,
Right.
tried to intervene, but there's legal things that if mom wants to take money out and give it away, even a grown daughter can't stop her.
Absolutely.
Is that what you ran into?
That's exactly what happened. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, again, this emotion. She was in love, right? Mm-hmm. But her daughter knew better, of course, and she was so convinced Elton John was coming over here. They were going to get married. That she just wound up finally giving her all her money away, and then they went to court over the deal, and the lady wound up losing her home.
Good heavens!
Yeah,
it was Elton's coming, but he needs $10,000 to catch a bus.
Or fly over a trip. Yeah, trip money. Yeah,
I think the man's worth $1 billion. But that here again doesn't matter because the emotion's in there.
Right.
Did again on the daughter? Did she contact law enforcement during this process?
She called me.
Okay.
Sheriff's office. But she was not in our jurisdiction.
I see.
So I contacted Prescott Police, and they were. I don't know if they took the report or not. They were supposed to. I'm assuming they did.
Right.
But the morning of their court date, the lady called the daughter. Called me and wanted to know where the report was. And I said, and I reminded her that you guys weren't in our jurisdiction. So I don't know if she misplaced the report from the Prescott Police or what. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
But they went to court with no report, and the lady lost her home.
Good heavens.
Yeah.
So despite, here you go, you think you kind of can protect. My folks are in their 80s, and we've had these talks. I've got a cousin who's also in law enforcement, specifically in the fraud thing. His mom got taken online, and she'd been taught everything. Yeah, it's just so easy. There was one that was just insidious, and I know our listeners will be familiar with it, and I know that you've dealt with it a million times, and that was the Facebook grandparent thing. Mm-hmm. I've got, and they actually put a voice. They'll call, real quick for our listeners' sake, they'll call you from, say, Canada, and so they'll say very convincingly to the victim, this is Officer so-and-so, your granddaughter is here on spring break, she's been arrested, we need bail money right this minute. something like that. And then they'll put the granddaughter on the phone, but it's not the granddaughter.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Well, they used to fake those voices, but now since you have artificial intelligence, it takes the scammers 3 seconds to clone somebody's voice.
Right.
They can take that voice then and make that voice say anything the scammers want them to say. Mm-hmm. So now, if they get the call, the loved one gets that call that been kidnapped or in a bad accident or need bail money or whatever, they got the background, the voice in the background, and you're hearing your loved one's voice, but that's not them using those words.
Right. They've cloned it because perhaps they've called the granddaughter ahead of time and just got her to say, hello, hi, who's this? Who is this? And then hang up.
Right.
But bang.
So what we suggest people do is just hang up and then call that person that's supposed to be in jail or in the hospital or whatever to check on them, make sure they're okay.
Sure.
Another thing we suggest is to get some kind of a code word between the family members.
Good idea.
And
right.
So
great. Everybody just like you should practice fire drill if
you bet.
your family. You should have that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you can shortcut this thing. Well, but there you go. None of us ever think it's going to happen to us.
Oh yeah, right.
None of us do. We had this DMV thing here just in the past week or so as we record this here on the 18th day of June. And gosh darn, Paul David read the story on the air, and it wasn't 20 minutes later, I got the text. His own wife got the text too, so that was just going all over the place.
Yes, sir.
Now, most of us, I think, are attuned to not responding to unsolicited texts or calls from anybody.
Right.
But they sure gave it a try.
Yes, sir, they did.
And it was convincing looking. It was lengthy, which surprised me. It had a phone number attached to it.
Sure did.
It really, if you weren't already suspicious of nature, I could see people responding to that thing. Mm-hmm. Holy cow!
But people were what they picked up on instead of the DMV, like we are, the Department of Motor Vehicles, or MVD rather. Mm-hmm. They had DMV.
So they screwed that one piece up.
They had it backwards, yeah.
And how many people may not even notice that? I don't think I did.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I mean, we had it in the news, so I knew it was coming.
That's why I suggest you slow down when you get these emails and texts.
That's a great point because the con man, the scammer, the schemer, the fraudster.
Right.
That's one of the things they're going to do. They're going to play on those emotions. First thing you told us in this show. And the other thing is expedition. They're going to move that right along, right?
Yep.
So slow it down, I guess, is good advice.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, just take your time. And don't let, again, emotions kick in, right? Or you don't want them to. You have to control them best you can.
Right.
But there's always that sense of urgency that these scammers try to get you going, and so you're not thinking clearly.
Does it help me? I mean, you want to shut it down before any confidential information is given or any money or that. Obviously, you want to get out of it before anything. I know that sometimes a scammer will call and someone will go and they'll get the $500 and they'll send it, and then they'll say, "Oh, here's a sucker. We're going to get another $500," and that might be a day or two later.
Right.
Should I call law enforcement while this is unfolding? Can you do anything if this quote unquote crime is still being committed?
Well, it's still being committed. I haven't had any calls to that.
It's tricky. That's why I asked.
It is, yeah.
That's going to be just, pretty uncommon, first of all, to kind of catch. I'm just saying, it's just frustrating. There's no way to catch these crooks while they're doing it, I guess. I'm feeling frustrated, and so far I haven't been ripped off, but hundreds of people are every day.
Yeah.
So,
and just a side note: if you don't recognize that phone number, don't answer.
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Yeah. If it's legitimate, they'll leave a message, and you can follow up after.
Right, and no scammer's going to leave you a message.
Yeah.
Call them back.
Right. Okay.
I promise you.
Well, Ron, I appreciate your experience. We're going to take another break, and we'll come back and kind of wrap up. I'm not kidding. My blood pressure's up just kind of talking to you. It's so frustrating. And again, I can't imagine the level of frustration law enforcement feels and seeing heartbroken victims and being very limited in what you can do to help them out.
Yes, sir.
That's a trick. Oh, boy. All right. Ron Norfleet's our guest. It's Countywide. We'll be back to wrap up right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Thank you so very much for your generosity and kindness in helping others. I hope that you take advantage of the many Arizona state tax credits available when giving to qualified charities and schools. If you haven't taken advantage, I hope you'll ask your favorite charity if they qualify. You can go to Arizona Department of Revenue website, search for tax credits, and look at the list of qualifying charities. Then look at your latest Arizona income tax return and see how an Arizona tax credit can benefit many. This is Lewis saying thanks again.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time for a fresh start. Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, is ready to help you simplify and protect what matters most: your home, your car, your life, and your future. Jonna offers competitive pricing with a relationship-first approach that puts you at the center of every decision. Call Jonna Randall Murdoch today at 928-649-8686, located on Villa Drive in Cottonwood. Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
We welcome you back for our final segment. Ron, I'm over here gritting my teeth. I'm so glad you came to talk to us, but I just want to go knock heads with these baddies that would bring financial harm and almost even beyond that. Losing a lot of money, $50,000 in one story that you told us today, and I'm sure it can be a lot more than that, and it's happened. But just the predatory reaching into somebody's pocket, it's just so... it's such a violation of someone's privacy, of someone's life. It's just, that's almost as bad as the financial loss.
Absolutely, yeah.
You talked to during
violated, right?
Well, you talked about during our break that a fella had been taken, and he just came in to talk to you, and he was in tears, and I get it, but he just wanted to be heard.
His family with him, and it was sad,
hard to do
interview.
I don't doubt that.
It was hard, yeah.
Well, you kind of mentioned before the break, don't answer the phone if you don't recognize the number. If it really is somebody legit, they'll leave a message or they'll make themselves known to you.
Yes, sir.
What are some other pieces to kind of practice and try to stay out of the clutches
if
of
you
these
didn't
guys?
if you didn't solicit that call, it's probably going to be a scammer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sadly, these days, these scammers have spoofed your friends' phone emails and things.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would suggest you do, just you don't have to click on the link. Just take your mouse and hover over the email address, and it'll highlight who it's from.
Right.
If it's a scammer, it's about a mile long.
Right. Yeah, that you'll see it there. Yeah.
Don't click it, because if you do, then that lets the scammer know that you're there. Somebody's there.
Right.
So potential, then they can take it from there wherever they want to go.
Yeah. Even if you respond, no thanks. The best just to delete that whole shebang and be done with it.
Don't even do that.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman lost $40,000 here 3 or 4 months ago, and all he did was he got a text from supposedly Walmart. Did you make this purchase?
Mm-hmm.
And he said no.
Yeah.
He clicked no,
and that was enough.
And that's all it took. And then he got a phone call from the FBI. They're going to check this bank out. They suspected somebody was stealing money, so they used him to try to catch him. What wound up happening was they pulled out $40,000 from his home equity loan, and that's what he paid them with. Because supposedly they gave him $40,000 to help him out, to catch this person. And what they did, they got into his home equity account and pulled the $40,000 out. So he wound up giving the scammer $40,000.
Thinking he was doing a good thing.
It wasn't
even a benign thing. He thought he was actually helping, and he got taken.
And he got taken.
Just want to go crack heads behind the woodshed. Ron, we really appreciate what you and what YCSO do. I know it can be, it's so taxing. You got to have a heart of gold to do this every day and to try to help people out. So we appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
If folks want to get in touch with you, if they've been victims of fraud or if they fear something fraudulent is afoot, what should they do?
Call me at 928-771-3299.
Okay.
I don't care if you haven't, even if you haven't lost money. I still need to hear about it because chances are you're not the only one that just got that phone call or text or whatever. And we need to get that information out to everybody, make them aware of what to look out for. So just need to get the conversation started, and we'll see what we need to do from there.
All right. Well, sir, thank you so much for what you do. Keep going after them. Maybe someday we'll not have to deal with these characters anymore. Our guest, Ron Norfleet, Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.